Okay. Okay. My name is AJ Lozano. I'm interviewing my mom, Kathira Lozano, for this project. Hi, how are you doing? How's your night going?
Hey, it's going great. How was your day?
It's pretty good.
Okay, awesome.
Let's just get started. Okay.
Okay.
So what are some sensory impressions that remind you of home? Sensory impressions like sounds or smells or sights, things like that.
Okay, of my home, like my home, this home, or like my home I grew up home.
Whatever comes to mind.
Okay, when you say home, I'm thinking of my home I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So some sensories are the smell of fresh cut grass always reminds me of home.
Mm-hmm.
When I see black eye Susan, that reminds me of my grandma growing up. We had a lot of black eye Susans growing up, so that reminds me of home. And when I smell something really good in the kitchen, like my mom used to make beef and rice, and just the smell of like the onions and the garlic and the olive oil, just really good. So whenever I make that, that reminds me of home also.
Okay. That's good because I think we had to do I wish I had it like accessible right now on me. But we did a little project for the class and we had to make like a thing that like reminds us. It was like a picture, a quote, and then like a little art piece that had sights and smells sort of that reminded us of home. Of course, I can't
Okay.
find it now. But anyways,
And
I had stuff that was just like what you're talking about. Like, do I have it?
and like
No.
peppermint, the smell of peppermint, that reminds me of my grandma back home. So there's a lot of like, yeah, smells and things.
Yeah, I had outdoor stuff. I had pictures of family.
hmm
But
hmm
yeah. Okay. Do you have like a special item or like artifact that you have from home, like mem that or a thing that you can like hold that you own that reminds you of home?
Do I? Well, I do have a picture that my grandma gave me when we first moved to Virginia.
Hmm.
It's in the garage because it doesn't go with my decor. But when I go in the garage and I see it, that reminds me of home.
Is it that black velvet, not velvet, but that black like felt thing with the wooden frame?
Yes,
Yeah, I know you're talking about. That reminds me of home too.
yes,
Yeah, that I remember that from way.
does it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back when we were
hmm
little. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So is home a building, a place, or a feeling, or a group of people, or what? What is home? What makes you think of home? You think of home, what do you think of?
When I think of home, I think of the people, I think of the place. I just think of gathering, I think of laughter, I think of food. Home to me is just those types of things um that just like is embedded in your memory and it's like, yes, like this is what home is. So again, to me, home is the smells of food, the gathering of people, the laughter, music in the background or somebody sleeping on the sofa, that kind of thing. So it's pretty much that. I mean, I don't think it's a building because that doesn't seem very personal. So yeah, that's what it is for me.
You think of a specific group of people or a specific gathering, or is it just in general, anytime you're with loved ones, you feel at home?
Specifically for me, it would be Christmas Eve night. Christmas to me, with all of my family, all of my kids, my husband, all five of us together. That is like I can like take a deep breath and like this is home because that's just and with the fireplace going and the music in the background and the decor and decorations. It's just that's to me. It reminds me of family. Happy that I'm with my family.
Okay. All right. So do you have a favorite memory that you associate with like the family or with home?
Let's see, a favorite memory. What for here or like growing up?
Whichever you can do one, you can do both, and it doesn't have to be the best all time. It can just be a good one that comes to mind.
Hmm. Well, I do have a growing up. One of my memories back home was when my mom came home with our first VCR. It was like the VCR was like all the rage, and we didn't have one. And then one night, she comes in with a brand new VCR from Walmart. She rented two movies. They weren't appropriate for my age, but they were scary, so they weren't appropriate. But we were just so happy to have a VCR. And that was like all of us was in the living room and we turned it on, hooked it all up, and we watched a scary movie that I will not say, but
Wait, why
I
not?
to this day, because it's a bad movie and I don't like scary things because of it.
Okay.
So okay, it was The Exorcist, The Exorcist.
Oh,
Okay, in the
okay.
days.
She had you all
Yeah.
watching
So
that?
yes,
Oh my
but I
great. I'm
don't
gonna have to
think
talk to
like I
grandma.
don't think like she I don't think she really thought of like a movie. I think she just got two movies and it was like the newest movies, I guess.
Okay.
And so we watched those and to this day I don't like scary movies.
Why did
But yeah,
grandma,
I know.
of all the movies to pick, there were both scary movies like that? What was the other movie?
I don't know. Oh, the other movie? Well, I'm telling my age. It was called Damien. That was
Mhm.
another scary movie.
What in the
Look it
world?
up. It was back in the yeah. So those were two scary movies that we watched the first night we got a VCR. Yes.
I'm gonna have to ask. I'm gonna have to talk to grandma about that one. That's a good one. Okay. What about uh with the immediate family? Like me, Eric, Luke, Dad. Do you have a good memory from that home?
From which home?
Like,
Because we had so many, which is unfortunate, but we had so many. But I mean, so
yeah.
I mean, they were nice. I mean, they were good
I'll
homes,
say like
but
a good family memory.
let me think. A good family memory from us. Oh, okay. Remember when we were going somewhere with all of us, and Luke was like, he was really little, and there's a mosquito in the van,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Can you kill mosquito?" And we were so mad because we thought that the mosquito was just eating up Luke, and you got in the back seat just like whatever. And we're like, AJ, kill the mosquito. It's bit Luke multiple times. You remember that?
Y'all
It's
won't let me
like you
forget.
guys, y'all were terrible.
No, not let me
And
forget.
then remember the camp when we camped that
Oh,
one place with all the mosquitoes
yes,
and Eric was taking a shower and he was getting bit left right.
I do. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that was a terrible camping. That was terrible. That night was bad with
That was
mosquitoes, but
that was rough.
yeah, but it was fun. I mean,
It's a
but
good memory.
that's a
Good
good
memory.
that was one of those oh my goodness moments.
So your memories of family and home are really scary movie and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. That's good.
Yes. Hey, you said they don't have to always be big. I mean, that's something that we did and it was like it
Oh,
was
those are
fun. It
good.
was fun and yeah,
They're memorable. Very memorable.
yes, yes.
Okay. Do you have a favorite home?
I think my favorite home out of all my houses that we had, I think my favorite one was Tiffany Lane. Our very first house that we bought. That's probably why it's my favorite because here there now we had rented an apartment for probably like a year or so and we were finally able to buy our own house and that was our first house that we ever bought. So that would be my favorite house. And you and Eric, I mean, you guys grew up in that house. the neighbors were great. We were
Mhm.
close to everything. And so, yeah, that was my favorite.
How's it going? Yeah, I don't think
It
Eric.
was our first home.
Yeah, no, I
You
have a
don't
lot
think
of memories
so?
from. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does.
Eric doesn't.
But that was,
But I remember a lot from there. But poor Eric.
yeah, but that was our first home, so
Hmm.
that's my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's a good one.
Mm,
Okay. Okay. Let me see what else, other questions I got here. Okay. Where do you feel like you belong? Like when you're somewhere, where's somewhere that when you're there, you have a good sense of belonging and like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is a good place for me to be.
um, well, home would be number one, but other than that, I would say,
Home, as in where you
like,
are now.
yeah, like where I'm at now, this house here, this I feel really good here.
Hmm.
And I feel like I belong in at my job in my school, like my work, because I really enjoy it. And so when I go there, I'm like, this is good. I'm happy, you know. So my home and my job, I can't believe I'm saying working with kids every day is one of my favorite places, but it is because I like it.
Okay, so it's you said you like it. So you feel like you belong there because you like what you do there.
Yeah, I belong there because I like what I do. I like the people that I work with. And I like the impact that I try to make on my students every day. And home here is just it's me, it's us, it's comfy, it's it's what we are here every day.
Hmm.
And so when I come here, I feel stress free. I feel relaxed. I feel like this is where This is cool. I can stay here.
Okay, like that answer. Um, okay. What are some places where you make an effort to welcome others and make them feel like they belong?
Places like, well, I mean, like
Settings. It doesn't have to be like a at this particular place, just like a time when you're like you feel yourself trying to help others feel like they belong there, trying to make others comfortable.
um, well, maybe like at school, um, especially when we get like new students, or if the student is, feeling sad or, you know, unhappy about something, I try to remind them that, we are happy that they're in our classroom.
Hmm.
I try to remind them that they are, a good student and have good friends, and just try to make them feel comfortable and safe being in our classroom when they don't feel that they are. Um, I kind of like to make people feel comfortable when we are like even at church, if there's a newcomer, if there's a person that I've never met or a person that's just getting there, and I recognize them, and I just welcome, and hope you feel comfortable. If you need anything, let us know, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and probably at my other job, Home Depot. Um, because some, they come in there, they don't know what they want to do, they don't know what they want. They can't find this, they can't find that. They're all stressed out because they can't find certain things, and it's like, okay, let's do one thing at a time. What do you need first? What do you need second? And I just walk them around and shop with them so they don't feel like they're because it's a big store, and if you don't know where things are, it can be a little bit, you know, frustrating.
Hmm.
So I walk them around and I shop with them and just help them as if I can, especially the elderly, the elderly customers that come in and don't know where anything is. I
Yeah.
just take my time with them and just shop with them and find what they need to find and help them. Because I have a grandma and I would want somebody to do that to my grandma. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah.
You did a good job raising me because that's usually what I think when I'm helping someone else, especially like an older person. I'm like, I have a grandma. I think the same thing you do. I think about grandma
Yeah,
Sadie, and
yes,
how I want people to treat her,
yes,
her out. So I got to be
yeah,
trying to do the same way.
yeah. And I mean, they can be so older,
Yep.
so, but
Yep.
it's like, I got to do this,
I wouldn't want
So,
somebody being impatient, but yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah. So I just try to think as I have kids, I have boys, I have a mom, I have a grandma, and I would want someone to treat them the same way if I wasn't there.
Mhm.
So
Okay. All right, kind of related. Uh, so growing up, everything. Now that I'm older, I can see how much you guys did for us growing up, how much you helped us.
really,
Yeah,
that's good.
especially when I
That's
meet other
good to
people who
know.
did not have the same upbringing or like opportunities, loving home that I did. So I see
Hmm.
you guys did a whole lot. Did you feel like home was something that you and dad had to work to create or like intentionally create, or did it just happen naturally?
I think at first is, when you're starting out young and everything is natural. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It just things go with the flow. And then when you start adding, like buying our first house or having our first child or getting a new job, and then you have a second child, and then, your job may change or then you have, I feel like after you add on things, when it's just not the two of you, and you start adding on things, then it starts to get intentional because of the time. You don't have the same time you did when you were just by yourself.
Hmm.
You don't have the same friends you had when you were by yourself. You know what I mean? So, and as you get older, you can kind of be like more complacent with everything. And so sometimes when you're complacent with things, and you're just happy, just so you don't really, not that you don't care, but you don't really think about like being intentional sometimes. So then you have to be intentional. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really natural at first, and then as you grow up and you get older and you learn things, you have to kind of start being intentional so you don't get like lost or you don't forget. Oh, I remember when we first met, or I remember, our first this or our first that. So yeah, natural at first and then intentional later on.
Okay. So it's a whole process, it changes.
Yeah, it does. It changes. Yeah, it
Mm.
changes. Mhm.
Okay. And then last question. What do you, are you still there? It looks like it's frozen.
Here,
Okay, okay. It was, sorry, I think it was messed up. How would you define home?
home to me is where I am with my family, um, talking, enjoying a meal together, sitting around watching TV sometimes, our favorite movie, pastime. I think I would just say home is family to me. That's what home is to me, family.
I like that.
Hmm.
I was talking to dad. Dad's interview was a little, I asked similar questions, but he had, you guys had similar answers, but also different answers. So it was, I like hearing both sides.
Different. It's good to have different perspectives on things. That's
Hmm.
good.
Hmm. I was
Hmm.
surprised. I wasn't sure if you guys would be exactly the same or opposite or what, but it was like a good mix
A
of,
good mix.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thank you for saying that, uh, you enjoyed your childhood. You know how much that means to me. I feel like your childhood sets the tone for your life.
Hmm.
I mean, and so when you're out there and you're growing up and you're trying to find yourself, if you have a good childhood and a good upbringing and parents that love you and you know they love you, then you know who you are and you know that everything is going to be okay. So that's good. And we're always here for you. And you know that too, right? We're always here for you. We're number one.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for doing the interview.
Anytime.
Yep. All right. I might stop the